I have an almost 9-year-old daughter and almost 5-year-old son. Right now, they play together well and obviously love each other. But how do you cultivate a close relationship for siblings?
My advice is to always encourage, which I'm sure she does, a close relationship. I always pointed out to y'all that, hey, your family is going to be here forever. Your friends will come and go.
Yeah.
I mean, they're going to ebb and they're going to flow. But also to the mom, just realize this relationship is also going to ebb and flow.
Yeah.
It's amazing that there's a 4-year spread and they are as close as they are. That's really a blessing. So I would enjoy it as long as it rides out. But whenever that 9-year-old becomes 13 and wants to do their own thing or whatever, give it some grace and just have grace for that child and be like, you know what? The younger sibling hopefully will continue to work with the older one and they will continue to have a close relationship.
Yeah.
But it's really going to be on them. Hey everybody, welcome to Wire Talk. I am so excited that you found us today, and we are going to be talking about sibling rivalry. Listen, it's a thing, and as a mom, we can feel like we are stuck in the middle. So if you ever find yourself in those type situations, you are going to want to tune in and listen to all the questions and the answers for today's episode. Let's get started.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to Wire Talk. I'm Emily, the host of Wire Talk, and I'm so excited you guys are here with us today. Whether it's your first time or you are a long-time listener, welcome back to the studio. Hello, Mom.
The studio, let's look at it, guys.
I know, if this is
come
the
on.
first time being here, you're like, wow, they have got it so made up here. It's beautiful. But if you've been a long-time listener and watching us on YouTube, you're going to be like, whoa, they did something different.
Yes.
And we did, y'all. We did.
I just thought it was time for, I'm a yellow temperament personality, and I like change, people. So we changed it up. And if y'all just listen to the podcast, you need to do yourself a favor and at least tune in to YouTube one time to see our amazing background.
I know, it looks so good.
We went bold, didn't we?
Shout out to Tiffany.
Tiffany did the wallpaper, and she did amazing. And she said that she's hanging up her wallpapering days.
She's like, I'll never do it again.
And I was like, I'm so sorry. I felt bad.
Well, I think, today, this episode, we're talking about sibling harmony and strong-willed kids and encouraging healthy relationships. But honestly, it's kind of like the perfect, what's when two things come together? Like merging?
Yes.
Yeah. Because we got new wallpaper, we kind of had to adjust things in the studio that was working.
That's right.
But then it wasn't because we have a new background. And I think in parenting, you've taught me this, is you've got to be a little flexible.
That's right.
Even if you've got your ways of doing something and works really well with one kid, you have to be flexible because one thing's not going to always work with the second
Change it
kid.
up. That's right.
So,
exactly.
Yeah. And if you're like you have 4 kids, and we were all very different.
Oh, yes, you were.
Yes.
And I had to honestly remember, okay, which one am I talking to right now?
Yes, exactly.
And
you're right.
You have to handle them all differently.
Yes.
And that's what's tough about being a mom.
Yes. But also things that are different is we recorded an episode last month. For this episode, we're actually moving it to later on in April.
Right.
April or May or whatever.
Yeah.
It's a surprise. But in that episode, I told everybody something exciting, so I have to retell them.
Oh, that's right. I forgot you told them.
So anyways, surprise, I'm actually pregnant with baby number 3.
Yay.
So I'm very excited. It's going to be a girl. So right now I'm 17 weeks pregnant. And I think when this airs in 3 weeks, I'll be 20. Oh my goodness, I'll be almost 20 weeks pregnant.
You'll be halfway there.
To the point. So
wow.
I know. So Brian and the kids and I are going on a cruise. So I'll look like a beached whale on the cruise deck.
I do not think you're in beach whale status.
Thank you.
Now, you might get there eventually at 9
Yeah.
months, but right now, I think she looks fabulous.
Well, thank you. I'm at the point where my pre-pregnancy clothes don't fit and they haven't fit for quite some time, but I'm not fully, it looks like I just ate 100 tacos instead of looking pregnant. You know what I mean? People around me know, but other than that, they're like, man, she really needs to go on a diet because her
you
stomach
just need
is
to
huge.
start telling everybody, hey,
I'm pregnant. That's right.
During this stage, I used to just want to wear a sign. I'm not fat, I'm pregnant.
Yeah. I did eat some tacos, but I'm also pregnant. So.
Exactly.
But anyways, Mom, you doing really well? You excited?
I'm doing good. Yeah, I'm ready to be here today.
Your outfit is so cute today.
Well, listen, I saw this little scarf. I don't normally wear scarves.
It's adorable.
But I saw it the other day in the store, and I fell in love with it. And so then I did not buy it because I don't normally wear scarves.
Yeah.
I'm not that person.
Yeah.
But then as I went home and I just kept thinking about it, I'm like, I'm going to go back and get that scarf.
As you should.
I'm going to just, splurge. Just because I haven't ever worn it doesn't mean I can't start wearing it.
Love it.
And listen, I'm going to tell you, it keeps my neck really warm.
Well, it's a cold day today.
And
so
it's cold and it's rainy outside, but I'm bringing the spring. I'm feeling it. I'm just going to make it happen.
It'll be perfect for when you and Dad go to Scotland, too.
Yes, girl.
It'll be so cute.
April, here we come.
Here we
Scotland.
come.
This little scarf is going with me.
Well, can't wait to see it. Well, everyone, we're going to go ahead and get started. We've got some amazing questions by some sweet mamas, and I can't wait to get into the questions and hear what you have to say, Mom. You ready?
I'm ready. Let's go.
All right. Question 1. My 4-year-old daughter is becoming increasingly possessive of her belongings and constantly fears her younger sister will take her things. She consistently expresses fear that someone is going to take her stuff. I've tried to talk to her about trusting God and being generous, but I'm not sure if these concepts are too deep for her to understand at this age. Yesterday, she came downstairs and then went straight back upstairs to check to make sure her door was closed. How do I reach her heart on this issue?
I totally relate to this, Mom.
Yeah.
Because I don't know if you know or remember, but Taylor was just exactly the same way.
I do remember.
He was like that with his room. He was like that in the playroom with his toys. Mm-hmm. Even whenever he went to school, he would want to label all of his crayons Taylor Stubbs. And even though it was a community thing with people, grabbing each other's crayons, he did not like that. He was like, no, these are mine. They say my name on it, and everybody else leave it alone.
Yeah.
So I love how this mom is pointing her daughter back to God, but I really think God in this instance is too high up for her 4-year-old to grasp.
Yeah.
So I would just take God out of it and just say, hey, we as a family, we don't need or want your stuff.
Yeah.
But I would go back to, she says she has a younger sister and she's afraid that younger sister's going to take her things. Mm-hmm. So I would go to the younger sister and say, hey, your older sister's room is off limits.
Yeah.
If the door is shut, don't go in there. Mm-hmm. And if you do, you're going to get in trouble. And just need to know that if it's not yours, don't mess with it.
Yeah.
But I would also reassure your older daughter, hey, if by chance your sister does take something, I will keep an eye out and I'll make sure we give it back to you. Mm-hmm. I promise.
Yeah.
But you need to lower your anxiety in this issue because it's not doing you well. Like you can't just keep running up and down stairs to make sure your stuff is not being taken.
True.
If that makes sense.
Yeah, that does make sense.
Are any of your kids like this?
Yeah, my oldest would be this way.
Yeah. How do you handle it?
This is the perfect example of the community crayons. I've had to pick Harper. She wanted to do this after school club, and I said, that's fine. She lent her glue stick to a friend, and we had to leave early from club. So I went to pick her up, and she, in the middle of the whole class, she goes, excuse me, I need my glue stick back. And I was like, oh, wow. Like, I would have just been like, it's a glue stick.
I'll get it tomorrow, yeah.
And I looked in her little crayon box, and everything has its place. And I said, Harper, do you still have your crayons? She goes, yeah, they're my crayons, not anyone else's. And I was like, oh, and I just said, well, I know that they're your crayons. They are your crayons, but I'm very proud of you for sharing with other people. She goes, yeah, they just need to give it back. And I said, yeah, and that's good. And they normally will give it back. Mm-hmm. So I just think I'd encourage her when I see her sharing, because I do know that is hard.
Yeah.
Especially with her craft supplies.
Right.
Because Grayson likes to take all of them. And when she does share and does let her sibling have something, I do encourage it. But then also, if it's a brand new coloring book,
sure,
I don't let Grayson take it.
Yeah,
you know what I mean.
Well,
if
that's
it's
respectful.
Yeah, you know what I mean. So I kind of just am like, Grayson, you can have it in a week or in a couple of days, but right now this is Harper's brand new thing.
Well, and I think it's very important to understand that this is really and truly a temperament issue.
Yeah,
it's that blue temperament, and we've got lots and lots and lots of podcast on this. I wrote about this in the Survival Guide to Motherhood.
Yeah.
It's in my curriculums, but there's also a book, A Grown-Up's Guide to Kids Wiring. That's a great book. Kathleen Edelman talks about the do's and the don'ts to do with the different temperaments. But this possessive trait is one of the weaknesses of the blue temperament.
Yeah.
So I just think as a mom, we just need to be aware, okay, this is part of my child's temperament. Now, I don't need to let her or him sit in that forever.
Correct.
I need to teach him and coach him how to be sharing and caring and all the things that you just said.
Yeah.
So
But I love how you told this mom to validate her feelings. Like, I know this is important to you.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I mean? And I will have the conversation with your sister, but I just think that's good too, because then they feel heard.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
and that we're not blowing them off.
That's right. Exactly.
Yeah.
Because nobody likes that. Doesn't matter how
nobody likes that.
Yep. All right. You ready for the next question?
Let's do it.
Okay.
This one is all you, Emily.
Yes, it is. Okay, let's go. All right. My daughters, 6 and 8, love to keep all, in all caps, their things on their bed. Stuffed animals, art projects, books, you name it. It's on their beds. Do I throw in the towel and let that much stuff be on their beds? Or do I be consistent and put limits? Thank you for your time and advice.
Well, I mean, this is a total...
I'm not laughing at this question. I'm laughing at how it relates to me.
Oh, my goodness. This is Emily as a child 100%. And probably if we went into her house right now, it might be applying as well. But
I don't know, maybe.
Maybe you've gotten better. But it's a personal preference thing. But I would let this one die. Mm-hmm. I just don't think this is a battle worth fighting. Emily did the same thing. And she's that green temperament. And she just didn't...
I didn't really care.
No. And so I would go put clean clothes on her bed. She had a queen size bed. And I mean, literally, she had clothes and stuffed animals and her homework and everything on the bed. She would scoot it all over to the side and then sleep on the side that the clutter wasn't on.
Yep.
And for days. And every now and then I'd be like, all right, Emily, that's enough.
You finally put a boundary. It was like every Friday night.
You were in high school.
Okay. There you go.
I mean, weren't you? You were in high school.
I was. You're right. I think it's like a sophomore in high school.
Yeah, exactly. You were a lot older. So anyways, I would just, if I were you, this mom, I would just let it go. I just don't think it's a battle worth fighting. I mean, it's up to you. It's a personal preference. It's not a right or a wrong.
Yep.
It's also what you can handle as a mom.
Yeah. Do you know what's funny? Is I still do that, and I'm married.
I know.
When Brian's traveling, it all sits on his side of the bed because I know he's not there. But then like 2 days before he comes home, I'm like, ooh, I probably should put this laundry away. And then I'll put it away because I now have to share a bed with my husband.
I don't do that.
He doesn't like that.
But when you're, no, I know he wouldn't like that. He wants a place to sleep.
He wants to sleep. Why?
Yeah.
No.
I don't do that, but I do when your dad's traveling. I do not make down his side of the bed.
Yeah.
I just, we have a king bed and I just make my side of the bed down. And that's it. So,
well, I do the same thing. I just put more stuff on his side.
I know exactly what you
You're
do.
like, I know, I've been to your house before.
Yeah.
So, all right, that's a good question.
I know, right?
That's a good answer.
It's just a cute one.
It is. All right. Question 3. I have a 13-year-old daughter who loves to argue. Mm-hmm. She is my firstborn and very intelligent. So when she doesn't see the point in doing something I ask her to do, she buckles down and argues. Honestly, I lose my temper with her and we end up in a yelling match. I have 3 younger boys, 10, 8, and 5, who generally run to me and hug me when their sister starts yelling. I feel so sorry for them having to weather the daily storms of her argumentative nature. We always end up apologizing and talking after the argument and hugging and talking it out. But I'm so tired of the anger and pushback from her over every little thing. Please help.
I know. I love this question. This question reminds me so much of Abby and I. I mean, because she had that red temperament. Very strong-willed, especially in these teen years. But I just think Reds want to be heard. Mm-hmm. They want to be validated with their thoughts and everything else. So there's a line here, though. But I would address this when you're not arguing.
Okay.
I would go to her maybe at night, whenever it's been a good day, and I would just sit down on the edge of her bed, and I would just say, hey, we are getting into a habit of where you tell me what you want or you're arguing a point, and if I disagree, you continue to argue with me. Or if I say, you can't do this, you argue. And I just said, I don't like the direction our relationship is going because it's getting very volatile, and I don't like that. And I don't think you, deep down in your heart, really like it either. So what could I do as a mom to help you feel heard? And what could you do as a daughter to learn how to submit to my authority? And I would just say there's lots of places and areas in your life where you're going to have to submit to authority. And I'd give her some examples. You're going to have to pay taxes one day. You're not going to agree with it. You're not going to think it's fair. You're not going to be heard on it, but you're going to have to pay taxes. You're going to have a boss one day, and he or she is going to tell you what to do and how to do it, and you may not like it, but you're going to have to do it. You're going to have to drive the speed limit one day, or the policeman is going to pull you over and give you a ticket. And if you get too many tickets, you're going to have to pay a big fine. You know, I would go through some real life examples of where she's going to have to submit to authority, whether she likes it or not.
Exactly.
Regardless of what she does, where she lives, all the things. And I would just say, likewise, right now, I'm your mom and I am your authority. Now, I can value your opinion more. I can listen to you more. But you also, sweetheart, have to walk towards me. You have to do your due diligence. So why don't we decide together what you could do and what I could do, and let's learn to work together on this instead of fussing and fighting all the time. But the key to this conversation is to do it when neither one of you are hot and heavy.
Right.
Whenever you've had a good day and all of that. And the whole point is to say, I love you. I know you have a strong temperament, and I actually love that about you. I love that you're a leader. I love that you have strong opinions. I think that is amazing and wonderful, but you also have to learn to submit. And I know that's not easy.
Yeah.
And so I want to help you learn how to do this. So that's the way I would approach it. There's also a podcast that I did with Abby. It was October 3 years ago, because it was the year she got married.
Oh, yeah, you're right.
And so y'all could look that up, or maybe we'll put it in the show notes.
Okay.
But that's what I would do.
Yeah.
And then I also wrote a teen devotional.
Yeah.
And so maybe it would be a good idea to, since she's 13 years old, I'd get her that and just have her start working on that devotional within herself and like grow her relationship with the Lord.
Yeah.
Because this is also a maturity issue and a spiritual issue of submission. Nobody likes to submit.
Correct.
But God calls us to submit.
Yeah, he does. I love that in that answer, you give her part ownership and then you also part ownership.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, hey, there is something that you can do to work towards me.
Yeah.
But there's also something that I could work to do towards you. I feel like, especially at 13, she's in school. She's probably, you know, feeling like everyone is against her. And just, she's fighting hard at school, you know, which is just with like the world, you know what I mean? And then she gets home to you and she wants to feel like it's a safe place for her. And you're saying, I am a safe place for you, but you got to work with me as well. You know?
Absolutely. And Abby and I had to learn that really ourselves because, you know, I just told Abby, I'm not your punching bag.
Yeah.
And I'm glad you feel safe with me, but I'm not going to allow you to sit here and just yell at me the whole time.
That's good.
And I'm not going to yell at you either. Like, that's not right for either one of us. And trust me, I yelled too. So I had to go back and apologize. And I do think it's a great thing that she says they always have their peace and come back and hug each other and, you know, love it out. And I love that. So that shows me that there's a lot of hope for this relationship. You just got to learn how to speak her language and her hear it.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Yep.
Great answer, Mom.
Oh, thanks.
All right. Question 4.
Yep.
I have an almost 9-year-old daughter and almost 5-year-old son. Right now, they play together well and obviously love each other. But how do you cultivate a close relationship for siblings? I know when they get older, they won't want to play together. They'll have their own friends. I just want to make sure they grow up close and feel like they're each other's best friends, not just a sibling. What are some ways I can make sure they stay close and want to be close?
I love this. I love the heart behind this question. Honestly, I think all of us parents want our children to grow up and be really good friends. And that's what it is. It ends up being a friendship more than a sibling relationship. But that is really going to be on your children to develop and to grow and to, you know, just learn how to be a friend to their sibling and not just their sibling. So my advice is to always encourage, which I'm sure she does, a close relationship. I always pointed out to y'all that, hey, your family is going to be here forever. Your friends will come and go.
Yeah.
I mean, they're going to ebb and they're going to flow. But also to the mom, just realize this relationship is also going to ebb and flow.
Yeah.
It's amazing that there's a 4-year spread and they are as close as they are. That's really a blessing. So I would enjoy it as long as it rides out. But whenever that 9-year-old becomes 13 and wants to do their own thing or whatever, then give it some grace and just have grace for that child and be like, you know what? The younger sibling hopefully will continue to work with the older one and they will continue to have a close relationship. Yeah. But it's really going to be on them. I mean, you know, you got siblings. How have you had to work towards your relationships?
I think, you know, with each sibling, we've all been siblings that I didn't really want to hang out with, but then also
at different times.
But then you kind of let us figure out our friendship side of it. You were never allowed us to be mean to each other.
Right.
Because we're human. And then you'd be like, hey, we're not going to do that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But then you kind of just let us, you always pointed us back to each other. Hey, Kelsey did this, go talk to her. Hey, Taylor's annoying me, go talk to her. Hey, Abby did this, go talk to her. It wasn't like, let me come in and fix everything. So we started working on that friendship, that relationship from a very young age.
Yeah.
But then also, I think the older we got, you would be like, you would say something, you know, Taylor, I was talking to Taylor the other day and he said this. And I'd be like, well, he didn't tell me that. And you're like, well, when's the last time you called him? And I'm like, Good point. So I think you just always pointed us to each other.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I think a good rule that you made for us as a whole family is you can't go play with your friends if you're mean to your siblings.
Yeah, that's true.
And that was across the board, you cannot go play with your friends until you're nice to your siblings.
Yeah.
And like me and Kelsey were not really friends in middle school, but we were really great friends in high school. Taylor and I were really close in high school, but then, you know, I went to Auburn and he kind of went through some things with me. And then when we got back to Auburn together, we were really close. And then Abby and I's friendship really blossomed once I got back home from college.
Yeah.
And she was in college. And that's when her and I's friendship really became something sweet. So, I mean, just kind of just depended because of the age difference from each one.
Yeah. And I think they have to find something that they bond over, you know? So it's just sort of an ebb and flow thing. But I think it's amazing that they are still close at 9 and 5. I think and they're awesome. A boy and a girl. I mean, they have a lot, you know, if they were two girls, I could understand that. But a boy and a girl, they really obviously love each other.
Yeah.
So I think that's really sweet.
That is sweet.
So,
well, that is all we have for you guys today. But thank you so much for writing in your questions. I love reading them. Mom loves answering them. So it's a perfect combination. But we can't have this podcast without you. But if you're like, man, this was really good. My friend Laura down the road really needs to hear it. Go send it to her. Share, like, and subscribe so more people can hear the awesome wisdom of you, Mom, and just feel like that we have a community and motherhood together. So that's what Birds on a Wire is all about. Don't forget to check us out on our store, birdsonawiremoms.com, to get your teen devotional. You can also do a free temperament quiz. So if you don't really know, if you're talking about temperaments and you're like, I don't know if my kid is a red, yellow, blue, or green, there's a free quiz for you that you can kind of figure that out. But then also, stay tuned, get it signed up for the email because we have lots of amazing things happening in Birds on a Wire and you don't want to miss any of them. But we will see you guys next week at Wire Talk. See ya.
Bye.